I don't tell this story often, mostly because I still don't know how to explain what happened. But I swear on everything that this story is real. This was about a year ago. I had just finished a long week at work and decided to take a solo trip. Just me, my fishing gear, and the woods. I've always been the type who prefers being alone out in nature. Something about it just clears my head, you know? No noise, no people, just the sound of the trees and the water. I have this one spot I like to go to, way off this beaten path about 15 minutes from my house. I've gone here for years. It was an old lake, tucked about a mile off a gravel road, totally unreachable unless you knew exactly where to look. No trails, barely any sign anyone had been there in years. That's what I liked about it. I knew nobody would be out there. So I parked my truck on the side of the road like I've done a million times, grabbed my gear, and I hiked in. It takes about 20 minutes, and by the time I get to the lake, the sun's getting low, casting everything in that golden glow. It's peaceful as hell. I set up, crack a beer, cast my line, and life is good. But then, out of nowhere, I hear this voice behind me. Beautiful night, isn't it? Dude, I swear to God, I damn near jumped out of my skin. I spin around, and there she is, an older woman, just standing there a few feet away, pale as hell, long gray hair, wearing this loose, old-fashioned dress that looks like it hadn't been washed in years. I have no idea how she got there. I didn't hear a single twig snap, no footsteps, nothing. She just appeared out of thin air. I try to play it cool even though my heart's hammering in my chest. Yeah, it is. She just stares at me. She doesn't smile, doesn't move, just stands there like she's studying me. Then she says, "You come here often?" Now I'm starting to feel seriously weird. Who the hell just wanders up to someone deep in the woods? But I nod. Yeah, every once in a while. She tilts her head, like she's thinking about something. But then she says real slow, "Not many people come out here anymore." Something about the way she said it sent a chill down my spine. Like she wasn't talking about hikers or fishermen. She meant something else. I force a chuckle. Yeah, that's kind of why I like it. But she doesn't laugh. She just nods, like she already knew that. Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she turns around and starts walking back into the trees. Not a goodbye, nothing. She just left. What weirded me out the most was that there were no houses, no cabins, no vacation spots anywhere remotely close to here. I also hadn't seen any cars along the gravel road where I parked mine. Where did she come from? But the second she was out of sight, I got hit with this weird feeling, like she never actually left. You ever get that sensation that you're being watched, like someone right behind you, breathing down your neck? That's exactly how it felt. The hair on my arm stood straight up. My gut was screaming at me to pack up and get the hell out of there. But I did look around. I watched her leave. She didn't hide. If she did, it had to be pretty far off. It felt like somebody was directly behind me. It was just weird. But I didn't leave. Not right away. I tried to shake it off, convince myself I was just creeped out by how weird that whole interaction was. So I stayed for about another hour, but I just couldn't shake that feeling. Every time I looked over my shoulder, I half expected to see her standing there again, just watching. But finally, I had enough. It was dark out at this point, so I packed up my stuff and started hiking back to my truck. Now here's where it really gets messed up. As I'm walking through the woods, I start hearing footsteps behind me. At first, I tell myself it's just an animal. I have a flashlight. I'm shining it everywhere. I see nothing. But these footsteps, they're too deliberate, too heavy, like a person was following me, trying to keep their distance but not doing a great job at staying quiet. At this point, I don't turn around anymore. I don't want to turn around. I just pick up my pace, walking faster, practically jogging by the time I see my truck through the trees. I thought of the lady I had ran into. She didn't seem like she could physically hurt me, but the whole interaction I had with her made me feel weak. It made me feel like she was somebody to be afraid of. She could have a weapon for all I know. She could be mentally ill. I finally reached my truck. I unlocked it as fast as I could, threw my stuff in the passenger seat. The second I'm inside, I lock those doors. I start the engine and take off down the gravel road. My hands are shaking, but I don't look back. But then I do. I glance up at my rearview mirror, and that woman is sitting in my back seat. I swear to God, for a split second, I see her. Same gray hair, same pale face, just staring at me, not a smile, not one single facial expression. I scream. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I slam the brakes, whip around in my seat, and there's nothing there. Nothing. I'm breathing like I just ran a damn marathon, heart pounding so hard that it physically hurt, but my truck, it is empty. I didn't waste another second. I floored it, tore down that gravel road so fast I damn near lost control, drove straight home, and I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I haven't been back since, and I never will. I still can't explain it. Was I imagining it? Was she even real at all? Was she a ghost? It sucks it ruins my favorite fishing spot, and since this entire interaction, I haven't felt comfortable alone in nature anymore. This happened last fall, and I still get the chills thinking about it. Me, my 3 friends, Tyler, Liv, and Jordan, decided to go on a camping trip for the weekend. Just us, the woods, and no cell service. It was supposed to be this fun, relaxing getaway, but from the second we got there, something felt off. First of all, the place was too quiet, no birds, no animals rustling in the bushes, just dead silence. I remember making a joke like, wow, even nature doesn't want to be here, but no one really laughed. I think we all felt it, that weird heavy feeling in the air, but whatever, we set up a camp, made a fire, and tried to shake it off. Fast forward to that night, we're sitting around the fire, talking, laughing, just chilling, then Liv suddenly stops mid-sentence and just stares into the trees. I swear I just saw something move, she says. Tyler, of course, tries to play it cool. It's just the trees, he says, poking at the fire like he's some kind of wilderness expert. But I was already on edge, because for the past hour, I'd been feeling watched. You know that feeling when someone's standing behind you, staring? It was like that, except it was coming from all around us. Then we hear it, a branch snapping. It's faint, like it's drifting through the trees, low, raspy, like whoever's saying it is just out of reach. I can't make out the words, but I know it's real because Liv grabs my arm and I feel her shaking. At this point, we're done. We grab flashlights, shine them in every direction, nothing. No footsteps, no running, just empty woods. But that feeling, it's still there, stronger than ever. We didn't sleep that night, just sat by the fire, huddled together, waiting for the sun to come up. And when it finally did, we packed up and we left fast. The weirdest part, when we got to the parking area, we found something tucked under my windshield wiper, a single dirty handprint, and none of us put it there. This story takes place about 2 summers ago, and I don't think I've ever been as scared as I was that night. It was supposed to be a simple trip, just me and my best friend Claire hiking in Colorado for the day. We hadn't planned on camping, but we lost track of time, and the sun set way faster than we expected. Hiking back in the dark didn't feel safe, so we made the stupid decision to set up camp off trail. I remember feeling uneasy almost immediately, not because of anything obvious, but it's just this weird, heavy stillness in the air, like the forest was holding its breath. But I didn't say anything, neither did Claire. We just got tent up, made a small fire, and tried to relax. Then, around 10 p.m., we heard the music. It was faint at first, so quiet I thought I was imagining it. This eerie, off-key melody, like an old music box playing from deep in the woods. I didn't say anything until I saw Claire sit up, going completely still. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. I nodded. We turned off our lantern and listened. The music kept playing, just barely there, floating through the trees. It wasn't coming from one direction either, and almost felt like it was circling us. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the trees. Nothing. No lights, no movement, just dark silhouettes of trees stretching on forever. "Maybe there's a cabin nearby," Claire said, but she didn't sound convinced. We tried to ignore it, got into the tent, zipped it up, and told ourselves it was just some weird echo traveling from far away, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it was closer than that. Then, sometime after midnight, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Slow, careful, just outside the tent. I stopped breathing. My heart was pounding so hard I thought whoever was out there would hear it. Claire must have heard it too because she reached for my hand in the dark and squeezed it so tight that it hurt. We didn't move, didn't even whisper, just listened. The footsteps stopped, and their shadow moved across the tent. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't make any sound. We just sat there, frozen, as the shadow passed by again. Slow and deliberate, like whoever was out there wanted us to know they were. Then, from somewhere in the trees, the music started up again, louder this time. Claire finally lost it. She fumbled for her phone, but of course, no service. I grabbed my pocket knife, not that it would have done much, and whispered, "We need to run." The second I said it, the music stopped. Silence. And then, in the absolute quiet, we heard it, breathing, right outside the tent. That was it. We unzipped the tent and bolted, left our gear, the tent, everything, just ran through the trees with nothing but our flashlights, tripping over roots, branches, slapping against our face. I didn't know how long we ran, but eventually we hit the trail. We kept running until we saw a ranger station. When we told the ranger what happened, he just stared at us for a long time. Then he said, "You're lucky you left." That was all he would say. We never went back for our stuff. I don't know who or what was out there with us, but sometimes when I'm laying in bed at night, I swear I can still hear the music.